Okay, so we're going to open up ArcGIS Pro again for Lab 4. So I'll let you get to this point. So go ahead and go down to your Start button or however you get there and open up ArcGIS Pro and get it to this point here. Hit pause if you need to. But I'm going to go ahead and continue on here. We're going to hit the map button here again. And we're going to, like last time, we're going to tell it where to go. I'm sure there'll be times where you'll be upset with this program and you'll want to tell it where to go. Um, but we're gonna tell it what by that I mean we're gonna tell it which folder to go in, which I'm not gonna tell it to go to hell or whatever. You got the joke. I don't know why I had to further explain it. It wasn't a great joke to begin with, but anyway. All right, so we're gonna tell it where to go. We're gonna put it in my case. We're gonna put it where I've been putting it. You can put it wherever you want to put it. And then we're going to call this Lab 4 again. It doesn't like spaces in between folder names or project names. So I would leave spaces out of it. Go ahead and hit OK. And we'll let it get going here. Okay, I hit pause on my recording software to get us to this point. It did a lot of things in between then, so you may want to hit pause while yours is getting to this point. So once you're here, then we will want to. This is what we're going to do today. We're gonna actually do something that I'm working on, a project right now, and so you're gonna. I thought this would be a good project from where you guys are at right now in class. So we're going to do a real world scenario here, a real world kind of situation with GIS. And so I'm going to bring up a Word document here that tells us what we're going to do. So there's going to be a cell tower that's going to be put up in Des Moines, and of course cell towers are could be seen from quite a distance, and they're kind of distracting. And so one thing that needs to be considered if there's certain monies involved with a cell tower, they'll take into consideration whether they're going to affect any kind of historic properties. So let's say, for example, you're at, let's say they wanted to put a cell tower up next to Grant Wood's American Gothic house down there by Eldon, Iowa. That's probably not going to happen because who wants to go see the Grant Wood house and then have this big old cell tower right behind it? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what we're doing here. But this is in the middle of Des Moines, or in a very urban area of Des Moines, and so what we want to do using GIS is figure out the age of buildings and properties within 1 mile of this proposed cell tower. So the cell tower hasn't gone up yet. We're going to see if there's any historic buildings or properties within there, or we're going to start doing that anyway. So this is the address of the proposed location, and this is the latitude and longitude. So let's start with, you might want to write these down. So I'm going to hit pause and write down the address, and I would write down the decimal degrees, which is right here. So we have degrees, minutes, seconds, decimal degrees. I would write down the decimal degrees. So hit pause, write that down. And since I have it here, I'm going to do the easy way and hit copy on the latitude. And then I'm going to go back to ArcGIS Pro, and I'm going to go to the Map tab, and then I'm going to go to XY, and then this shows up down here. And then in the latitude area, it's on DD, which is decimal degrees. I'm going to paste in that. You'll have to type it in. Then I'm going to go back to longitude, and the reason it's got a negative is because it's going west from the prime meridian. Go back to ArcGIS Pro, type that in here, hit the flash location, there it is. So I can see where it's at. I'm going to start zooming in, flash, keep going, flash. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm using the wheel, by the way, on my mouse to zoom in, and flash one more time. Okay, so we're pretty much there, right? Okay, so we're at where we want to be. Okay, let's change the base map to images with labels. Okay, so let's flash again. So there's already something there. The cell tower is going to go right behind this other sort of tower here, which kind of helps us with our situation here. It's already got some big thing, standing there. But so the cell tower is going to go here. So we've zoomed in to where we want to be. You had to write this down and type it in, but I was able to. Oh, the cats are wanting attention again. I don't know if you can hear them or not. Okay, so we're here now. So we want to, let's put in a point where this cell tower is going to go. Okay, so we're going to create a point where this cell tower is going to go. So we do that. We're going to do something we've done before. We're going to go to the catalog tab. So either click down here or go to view, catalog pane. Either way, this will pop up. We're going to go to folders and go to our Lab 4 folder here. And we're going to right click, go to new, shapefile. So go to catalog, go to your folder, and go to right click and go to new, and then go to shapefile. And it will, the little circle will come up here by the little pointer. And again, don't stare at it. You could get hypnotized. Don't want you to get hypnotized. Got to stay focused here. All right, so it's take it a while here. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to hit pause. Okay, so eventually it will come up to create feature class. We know the location, and we want to put in cell underscore. Remember, no spaces and no dashes or any of that stuff. I'm just going to put in cell tower, and we want it to be a point shapefile. And then the coordinate system, we're in Des Moines, so we can go ahead and do projected. I'm kind of going fast here. Okay, so cell tower is the name, no spaces. The geometry type is point. Then click on this little globe here. Let me cancel out of this. Click on the globe for select coordinate system. Then projected coordinate system. We're going to use UTM. I use UTM all the time. UTM, Universal Transverse Mercator. The North American datum of 1983. I do this a lot, so I have to remind myself to slow down. NAT 83, UTM zone 15. Hit OK, and we keep everything else the same. Hit run, and now it's creating a shapefile in our Lab 4 folder, and it's a point shapefile. And once it's done, it pops up over here. And although we can't see anything on the map because we haven't created anything yet, so we need to create that point. So we are going to go to the Edit tab up here. So this ribbon up here, we've got these different tabs. To create features in a shapefile, we have to click on the Edit tab and then the Create button. So we hit Create, and then this Create Features pops up over here. We click on Cell Tower, and then we can click on this first button to the left, which is Create a Point Feature. So it's kind of nice to, if you hover your mouse over stuff, it tells you what it is, which is kind of nice. But we're going to click on this first one, which is Create a Point Feature here, okay? Now there's a couple ways we could do this. We could, put this back in here, flash the location, and kind of guess where it was flashing at. But instead, there's another way. Instead of just left clicking or using that flash to kind of see where it's at and guessing, we can right click now. So we've clicked on this, right click, and go to absolute XYZ. So right click anywhere inside the map area, go to absolute XYZ, and it starts out with meters or UTM because that's what we told it, right? But we can change these to decimal degrees. Okay, so let's type in. Let's leave the. This time we don't need the negative. So if you can do the west on your longitude, you don't need to put in the negative. Okay, so you either have to, depending on what it's prompting you for, to get the correct longitude, you either have to put in a negative or leave it if it's to east of the prime meridian. Or what if it does the WE, then you don't need the negative anymore. So let's so go ahead and put in here what these coordinates. And since again I'm going to cheat because I have them here, so I'm going to copy mine, go back here. I'm going to leave the N though, leave the N there. So I've got mine there. You're typing in yours because you can't copy and paste. So I get to copy and paste mine. You have to write yours down and then type it in. But again, so if this was a real world situation, you were at a job and you had these coordinates electronically or digitally in a Word, why would you write them down and then copy and paste whenever you can is what I'm saying. And we can get rid of this negative sign because we don't need that anymore. So once you've got all this, you can hit the Enter key on your keyboard, and there you see a little dot. So we've symbolized our dot like this. Now we have a dot at that exact coordinate, and we want to hit the Save button. So this is important. We've already got in our cell tower. Let's hit the Save button right away. Save edits, yes. Okay, so we've saved our cell tower. It's blue because it's selected right now. So if we wanted to unselect it, whenever you create a feature, it automatically selects it. Let's go back to the Map tab and see you have your selection here. This is how you select features. Let's right-click on Cell Tower and go to Selection, Clear Selection. So now it's no longer blue. It's the symbology we have here. Let's make it a little bigger so we can see it a little bit better. So let's click over here on. There's a couple different ways you can get to symbology. You can either right-click on the layer name over here and go to symbology, or you can click on the symbol itself, left click, which is what I just did. And then let's just pick, I'm going to pick circle 3, but you can pick whatever you want. Just something to make it a little bit bigger, okay, just as a symbology. So now we've got our cell tower location, and what we're going to do is we're going to buffer. So we want to know within, see all these homes here? We want to know within 1 mile, what are the ages of these homes? Are there any historic homes or buildings within 1 mile of where this cell tower is going to go? That's what our goal is here. So to do that, we're going to buffer, and you're reading about this stuff. It's a GIS process of buffering out 1 mile from this particular point. So now we're going to start to get into GIS processing and different processing techniques. And so we're going to use a new tab. Mine's already open down here, Geo Processing tab. But again, you can go to View, Geo Processing. So click on the View tab, Geo Processing, which is like a toolbox, Geo Processing. Now I've already been doing some, so I've got a favorites here. Stuff that I do a lot. We're going to click on Buffer. Now, let me see this back button here. I'm going to click on the back button. It's not letting me. Why is it not letting me? Oh, because, okay, let's go back to favorites here. If I click here, it's going to open up a toolbox. If I click here, it's just going to open up the buffer tool. But either way, let me go back. If you click on the analysis tools, if you get to this, double click on buffer. If you click on the word buffer, you're already there. So it's kind of an extra step if you click on the analysis tools part there. So our input feature is going to be the cell tower point, okay? And then our output feature class is going to be, let's call it, just a second here. My 15 minutes are running up, so the video is going to stop, and You won't notice it, but I got to stop here for a second. Okay, so we'll I clicked in here. We'll call it. We see where it's going to go here. Output feature class. It automatically called it cell tower buffer with the underscores, so it knows itself that it doesn't like spaces. So, but you can, if you change the name of it, make sure you keep all this stuff the same. You know, don't mess with any of the part of where it's going, but you can change the name here. But I'm just going to keep it cell tower buffer. And our linear unit is going to be, our linear units are fine. Let's go. This just means, is there a field in our point file here that's going to tell it how far we want to buffer? No, we're just going to enter it ourselves. So our linear unit, right now it says unknown. We're going to change it to miles. So click on the drop down here under linear unit, change that to miles. And then over here under distance, put in 1. So we want the buffer to be 1 mile. Okay, we don't need to mess with this right now. This just means, you know, whether we want it to be, you know, map miles, or if we want it to take into account the curvature of the Earth and all that stuff. But we're just doing a short distance here, so we can just leave it the way it is. And dissolve type just means if you had more than one point feature. Let's say we had a point feature here and a point feature here, and we were buffering 1 mile. Well, those two are going to overlap, right? And so this just means, do we want them to dissolve into one big buffer feature, or do we want them to stay as separate features? We only have 1 point feature, so we don't need to mess with that either. So let's hit run. And we'll let it do its thing here. I'll take a drink of coffee. Updating. Here we go. Buffer complete. So now we have a cell tower buffer 1 mile around this point. So if we right click on cell tower buffer and zoom to layer, so right click on the name cell tower buffer, or whatever you called it over here, and then when this pops up, zoom to layer. So now we have a 1 mile polygon feature class around this. Let's go back to let's click on catalog. Okay, or go up to the view menu, catalog pane. But get back to this, to where this says catalog. Okay. Now when I click on Lab 4, we're going to see a couple different things here. So click on Lab 4 to expand this. Then click on Lab 4 Geodatabase. Now you can see we created a new shapefile. So this is green with 3 dots, right? So that's representing our cell tower shapefile. Now when we created the cell tower buffer, we created a feature class inside our geodatabase. It's a polygon. It's gray and it's a polygon. You can see it's polygon by the icon there. Okay, so our buffer is a feature class. Our cell tower is a shapefile. Okay, so we have a 1 mile buffer. Sorry, I hit pause on my recording there once you heard the phone go off. So I don't know how smooth of a transition that was here, and I kind of forgot where I left off. But okay, somewhere around here, we got a 1 mile buffer around our cell tower point here. And the kind of nice thing I noticed here with ArcGIS Pro too is it automatically made it transparent, so we can see underneath it. If you go up to imagery, or no, I think it's appearance. It's appearance. If you go up to appearance, you see this slide button here under effects. That's where, if you ever want to do that again, that's where you can do that at. But that's just kind of a cool little trick aside kind of thing here. So anyway, we've got our 1 mile buffer now. So now we need to know what age all these buildings and structures are inside here. And the good thing is that as Polk County and all the counties in Iowa pretty much have a GIS department, and they have a parcels layer, and they have an attribute inside the parcels layer that tells them what year the structures were built, that helps them with tax purposes and that sort of thing. And so I contacted the Polk County GIS, and they sent me to this website here. So you're going to need to type it in, and there's the URL right there. So I'm going to kind of give you a second here. You might want to hit pause and write this down or whatever you want to do, and then go to your browser, Google, go to Google Chrome or Firefox or whatever it is you're using, Safari, whatever. Type this in and get to this website. Okay. It says not secure here. I was able to get to it. It is secure. It's Polk County's website, so you shouldn't have any problem. If you do, try a different browser or something, let me know. But okay, so then once you're here, we're gonna click on all Polk, and you can see now we've already discussed this, right? So if we need to download a shapefile, we can't just click on the s.shp and get it to work, right? We need a minimum of 3 files to get that to work. Now, the people at Polk County told me that the Parcels shapefile is a polygon shapefile that shows you the boundaries of the property, okay? And then they said this parsons with an N is a point shapefile that has a lot of the extra attributes in it that we're looking for. So we need to download both the Parcels shapefile and the parsons shapefile. And we want to download 4 files for each of them, okay? We want the DBF, we want the PRJ, we want the SHP, and we want the SHX, okay? So the shape is the geometry, the SHX is the index, the DBF is the attributes, and the projection is a PRJ. So we need to download. I'm going to just click on each of them. I clicked on DBF. It popped up down here. I'm going to click on shape. I'm going to click on SHX. And I'm going to click on, let's see, what haven't I done here? PRJ. I'm going to click on PRJ. Right? Okay, PRJ didn't, it brought me to this. So I'm going to have to go back and right click. I'm going to right click on the word PRJ and save link as. So for PRJ, I'm going to right click, save link as. I'm going to go to my folder that I'm using here, Lab 4, and I'm going to save it as a PRJ file. Okay, so see what I did there? And then for these other ones, I'm going to, again, depending on the browser you're using, this is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to go, no, I didn't want to do open. I wanted to do show in folder, sorry. And so now it's going to, I accidentally hit open there, and then it's asking me, well, what kind of file is that? So now I've got these 3 files here. I'm going to select them, right click, cut or copy, whatever you want to do. Go to the folder we're using and hit paste. So basically now I have, I've done this before, that's why I got a little 1 here. Yours isn't going to say a 1. But basically you want to get the PRJ, the SHX, the shape, and the DBF for parcels, and then you want to do the same thing for parsons. So I'm going to right click on parsons, save link as. I'm already in my Lab 4 now, so I'm going to hit save. And then I want to do shape, SHX, and DBF. And then show in folder. Not that one. This one, show in folder. And it's still kind of downloading here. I thought I hit shapefile too. Yeah, it's still going here. So this one is a pretty big shapefile. So you might have to give it a while for the parsons.shp. You can see it's 5.6 megabytes. Just making sure. Let me show in folder here. I'm going to try it again. Parsons.shape. There we go. Now show in folder. Here we go. So now I've got those 3. I can select them. cut or copy, whatever you want to do. Go to Lab 4, paste. So this part might be a little confusing, but basically what you want to do is from this page, you want to get the DBF, the SHP, the SHX, and the PRJ for both the parcels layer and the parsons layer. Okay, one was with an L, one is with an N. I'm going to hit pause on my video. I suggest you hit pause on the video too, because I have a feeling this is going to be a PAIN. But you can do it. That's Adam Sandler movies with, what's his name? No, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. You can do it. DBF, SHP, SHX, PRJ for both parcels and parsons in your Lab 4 folder. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have the DBF, the SHP, the SHX, the PRJ of both of these in your folder for Lab 4. And so I'm using Windows Explorer right now to see that. And if I go now to ArcGIS Pro, and it's not going to be in this lab folder because this is the Lab 4 folder that was set up by ArcGIS Pro. I'm going to click on Folders, Add Folder Connection, see, well, maybe it was. Let's right click and go to refresh. Well, I changed my mind. It is there. I thought it was going to be in a different lab folder. But anyway, okay, so Lab 4, right, if you see this here, you're probably good to go. Parcels and parsons. Now we could go back to the map tab and click add data and add them in that way, or we could just click here and drag it into the map. And give it a second here. I think it's still doing something. Same with this one. We can grab it and pull it in. And so now you see them pop up over here. I think it's going to take a while for them both to pop up. I'm wondering about, you know how I said it doesn't like spaces? I have a feeling yours didn't have a space here because I've done this before, and I think Windows automatically put this space in here. So this is actually a good thing. This is going to show you how, see how my parsons showed up, but this one did not. I have a feeling yours is going to be just fine, but I want to show you how mine did not. So I'm gonna go back to Windows Explorer for me. You probably don't have to do this, but maybe you will. Go to the Lab 4 folder here and see how now it says locked because I'm using it. So I need to get rid of it. So remove. Now go back to Windows, and you see how the locked is gone for that, but it's still there for parsons. So I'm going to click on mine here, get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of the one in the space for all of these files. You're not going to have to do this, I have a feeling, but just to show you in the future why you know, spaces and those sorts of things are not good for file names. Now if I go back here, refresh, see how it doesn't have a space anymore, and it doesn't have the why can't I think of that word? Dear Lord. Anyway, it doesn't have weird symbols in it. So now, and it doesn't have spaces. Now when I pull this in, I have a feeling it's going to pop up. Again, you're not going to have to do this because I think mine automatically added a 1 on it because I have done it before. Okay, so now they're there, and we have this. And so now we are ready to move on. That is probably going to be the most difficult part of this assignment, is getting those 4 files downloaded from that site into your folder. So But as I said, you can do it. Might be a PAIN though, and as you can see, it was with me too because I had that one in there in a space. Okay, so we have our parcels and our parsons, and it didn't like my space and my parentheses. Parentheses, that's the word I was looking for. So never put a space or parentheses. Numbers are fine. The one was fine. Um, but so now we're good to go here. So we don't need, well, first of all, let's check this out here, right? Okay, so let's right click on parcels and go to attribute table. So right click on the word parcels over here in the table of contents and click on attribute table. Excuse me. And it's taking a while for it to open here. Again, don't look at the circle. You'll get hypnotized. Okay, my bad jokes. I like to repeat them. I will not do the circle hypnotize thing again, just like I did say pain, P-I-A-N earlier. But anyway, okay, so here we are. So here's our attribute table. So this is something that Polk County put together. So inside each parcel polygon, they've got the address and all this kind of information here. Now, as we can see, if you look through here, there's no year built in terms of what um, what the structures are. So that's why they told me I need to get this parsons layer. So if I click the X out of parcels and right click on parsons and go to attribute table, so parsons with the N, and I scroll over, and here's year built. So this is the year that the main structure, the home, was built on the property. So I'm just going to click out of this now. Now we don't really need, all we need to know is for the ones that are within our 1 mile buffer. So we're going to clip out the points and the polygons within our buffer. So that's called, so we've done a buffer analysis. Now we're going to do a clip analysis. And that's in Geo Processing again. So click back on your Geo Processing tab down here, or go up to View, Geo Processing, and then for Find Tools. By the way, I just now realized my buffer was here earlier, and yours probably wasn't. And so I apologize because earlier you probably were like, dude, the buffer is not there, and you probably had to go here to find tools and find your buffer. So I apologize. Now we're going to go in here and type in clip and hit search, which is, I'm guessing, what you guys had to do earlier to get to the buffer. And so I apologize about that. So now here we are with clip. Let's click on that. And so our input features are going to be, let's start first with parcels. So our input features are parcels. Our clip feature is the cell tower buffer. And then let's just leave this as parcels clip, and let's hit run. So right now what it's doing is it's just taking, it's clipping, it's using that buffer as a clip feature to basically get rid of any polygons that are outside that buffer. And so we'll only have the polygons that are within inside the buffer when this thing is done. So let's check it out. So now we have over here, you see when this is done, clip completed, we have parcels clip. So let's turn off parcels. So see, now we just have parcels within our 1 mile buffer. So let's remove this parcels layer because we don't need it anymore. So let's right click, remove. Now we're going to do the same thing but with the parsons layer because we don't need all these points out here. We just only need the points inside here. So our input features now is going to be parsons with an N. We can leave our clip feature as cell tower buffer. And then let's just change this. Let's change the L to an N and hit run. So now it's doing the same thing with the point shapefile. It's clipping out just the ones that are inside our buffer. Okay, it's getting rid of all these points out here that we don't need. So clip completed. Once you see that, Let's right click on Parsons, remove. Okay, now we got rid of all this stuff we don't need anymore, right? And we actually don't even need the buffer anymore. So let's right click on buffer and remove that. So at this point, you should only have Parsons clip, cell tower, and Parcels clip. Okay, so now we're gonna we want to at the end we want to symbolize the parcels. We want to symbolize the polygons, and so we want to add the attributes from the point shapefile into the polygon shapefile. So we're going to do what's called a spatial join. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's right click on Parsons clip and go to attribute table. So right click on Parsons clip, attribute table, and this will open up. Now let's go over here again to year built. It's always a good idea to kind of look at your data here. See how there's some zeros? We're not interested in those because it doesn't give us the information. So just like any kind of database, you can right click on the field and go to sort ascending and see how you have a bunch of zeros here. We don't really care about those. So let's click out of Parsons clip. Let's go up. We're going to delete any point that has a 0 in it. So let's go to edit and just click on the create so that it's kind of opening up an edit session. It knows it can edit now. And let's right click on Parsons clip, the point shapefile. Go to properties, and we're going to do what's called let's do it this way. Let's go definition query. So we're going to query out we're going to just keep points that are above 0. I was kind of hesitating because there's two ways you can do this. You could also, if we did it this way, we're going to click on a new definition query, and we're going to say where year built is not equal to 0, and hit apply. Then hit OK, and it got rid of all the points where it was a 0. Okay, that's one way we can do this. I'm going to show you the other way we can do it too. Let's right click, go to properties. Let's edit, hit the X to remove clause, and hit OK. Now our points are back. The other way of doing this is to go back to the map tab, select by attributes, and do the same thing. Under new selection here, go to year built, but this time let's go year built is equal to 0 and hit apply. Now you see all the blue dots are where year built is equal to 0. Now since we're in an edit session, we hit create over here. Just hit the delete key on your keyboard. Right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing here. Why aren't they deleting? Okay, hit back on the create button here. And select Parsons clip over here. And now hit the delete key. There we go. Okay, so sorry about that. So edit, hit the create button, make sure you got Parsons clip selected over here. And when those are blue, hit the delete key on your keyboard, and then you saw the blue ones disappeared. Now we can go to save edits, yes. Okay, so now we just have points that have the year built in it. Now we're going to do what's called a spatial join. So let's go back to map. No, it's not on map, is it? So again, like I've said before, I'm new to this software as well, so I have to click around here until I see which one has the. I'm giving it a heart attack here. Um, Analysis. Let's see. Analysis tab has spatial join. So analysis, spatial join. And so what a spatial join means is we'll click on that. This is going to pop up over here. We're going to join the attributes of the point file to the polygon file. So our target features is going to be parcels, the polygon. That's where we want to put the attributes. The join features is going to be parsons. We can leave this the way it is. The join is going to be a one-to-one because it's 1 point for one polygon. And it's going to join, it's going to intersect any point with a polygon. So any point that is inside a polygon is going to join the attributes. So go ahead and hit run. And it says completed. So now we have our parcels clip spatial join. Let's get rid of parcels clip. Let's get rid of parsons clip. So now we just have parcels clip spatial join. Let's right click on that, go to attribute table. Now if we scroll over, we have year built. Okay. So we joined the attributes of the point shapefile to the polygon shapefile. Now we're going to symbolize this. So we're going to right click, properties, no, not properties, right click, Symbology. And we are going to change it from a single symbol to graduated colors. And then we're going to use the field year built. And now we can see where we're going here. We've got our cell tower. We've got a mile buffer. And now we can see where the old buildings are. The ones built less than 1956, 1933, 1980, 2020. You can change the color scheme if you want to make it a little bit more obvious. Something like that maybe. So now we can see it a little bit better, you know what I mean? So we can see lots of older buildings up here, lots of older buildings down here. Right around the cell tower seems to be a lot of buildings built in between 56 and 1980. So you can kind of mess around with the symbology there. You can see where the newer buildings are. But you can see how we're kind of getting closer to our goal here, which was determine any historic properties within 1 mile of a proposed cell tower location. So we're getting closer, right? And that's we're not going to actually complete the goal in this particular lab, but we're getting close, right? You've learned how to do buffers, you've learned how to do clips, you've learned how to do a spatial join, you've learned how to download a shapefile in a different way. And I'm guessing, and I kind of went quick on some of this, and I'm guessing you're going to have to kind of stop and go back every once in a while. But I think you learned quite a lot in this lab, and there was kind of some parts even where I had to, where I was like, where's spatial join? Oh yeah, it's on the analysis tab. So now what I want you to do to end this lab is to create a layout. So insert new layout and bring in this map and put in a north arrow and a title and all that stuff. And that's going to be, you're only going to turn in one map this time, which is going to have the final map that you just created, and title, north arrow, legend, all that stuff. And you want it to be symbolized so that it's showing the years and all that stuff over here. So turn in this map or something similar, and a one Microsoft Word, one paragraph on what you did. There's lots of steps involved here. So let me know if you have any questions while you're doing it. So that's it for Lab 4.